Okay, so I'm autistic, and you probably are too if you're watching this channel. No, but in all seriousness, you're not autistic, but I do think I definitely am a little bit autistic. You know, I have a fascination and addiction to trains, but I can't sit down and edit a video for the life of me. I can't do any of those like fancy edits. I just don't have the patience for it. I'm definitely like hella ADD or whatever you call it. I can't sit down and edit a video. I can't physically do it. It's so hard for me to do that kind of work, sitting down at a computer and just doing the same thing over and over again. If you watch content like me or anybody who makes long form content and not short form, I do think it's actually good for your health, good for your brain. Most of the content that you see nowadays on YouTube and other platforms, it's super clickbaity thumbnails, and it's super like, you go here and then you go to the other plot, and it's just like so like back and forth, and you never know what to expect. Like if you look at like Mr. Beast videos, for example, the audience retention is so high because he's always going from one area to the next, and you never know what's going to happen. There's no pauses or breaks or time for your brain to take your eyes off of the video because it's like so captivating, like every single second of his videos. So many other YouTubers are going that route, and it's very, very crazy to see that. Like pretty much all my videos are raw content. There's no added special effects. There's no added text. You know, I just pretty much bare bones, just raw content. And it can be pretty long and hard to get through. And I think if you do get through it, I think it's actually like really good for your brain, because you're teaching your brain to strengthen its attention span. Yeah, all of this short content, it's really dumbing down society and zapping people's attention spans. And this is something I like to call TikTok brain, and many other people are starting to catch on. And TikTok brain is when you're addicted to short content, mostly on TikTok, or TikTok is where this addiction stems from. You know, you're just constantly seeking this dopamine release in your brain, just constantly scrolling, constantly trying to find that next dopamine hit. People aren't trained to see a long form picture, a long form goal. They're just constantly trying to get that short-term pleasure, that immediate pleasure that they can get from TikTok and from scrolling and from not knowing what's going to happen next. You know, you might get a hot babe on your feed. You might get some crazy dude doing backflips on a motorcycle. You might get some really, really beautiful scenery and some amazing music that fits perfectly with each cut. There's so much content out there nowadays, you don't know what you're going to get, and that is the novelty of TikTok and other short-term, short-form platforms. You know, it's addicting as fuck. It really is. It's dangerous. It's killing our attention spans. I think that tons of people are either like on the spectrum or autistic, and there are a few reasons to why I think this is happening. And yeah, the main reason is the short form content attacking our brains and attention spans. And I could go on and on about that. But I also think it's the seed oils. I think it's poisoning us. I think there's, you know, it's cringy and cliche to say like, you know, seed oils, but I really do think it's true. I think there's like things that are in our food that are just absolutely destroying our health. And I think people are actually starting to open their eyes and see the bigger picture here. But more people like need to know that there's certain things that are out there right now that are absolutely destroying us, and we don't realize how bad they are for us. You know, there's apps out there, all these social medias, and the owners of these apps are hiring developers to strictly just try and tap into the human psyche and the human brain. And they know exactly what is addicting and what is not. And they are purposely trying to hook you in and make you not productive and make you just completely waste your life away. Like, these people know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing, and they are smart people. They study this, and they know how to get in our brains and destroy us. And there's other things I could stem into from here, and I could go on, but another thing is like water, like tap water. That shit's poison. There's so much BS in there. Fluoride, like there might be some lead and some other crazy chemicals in our water, chlorine. And they say it's to clean the water and to make it like purified to make sure we don't get sick. But it can do some real damage, all those chemicals, over time. You really need to buy like a reverse osmosis filter, and then you need to remineralize it with salts and other minerals. That's the best thing to do. And you could get like a cheaper filter if you don't want to like go into that right away. But tap water, unless you live in like a very nice area like Norway, like you're not gonna have good tap water. You really need to buy a filter. Yeah, and I'm gonna go back to seed oils. Seed oils, they completely destroy the way our brains function, and they are in absolutely everything nowadays. You can't go to a restaurant without having some sort of seed oil like being cooked in your food. It's just impossible nowadays. The only way to know you're not getting seed oils in your food is to cook at home. That's the only way you know for sure you're not having seed oils. And even if you cook at home, you got to check the ingredient label on stuff you buy, because they'll sneak that stuff in there. They're very sneaky with sneaking those seed oils in butter, in like so much like there's like fake butter, like can't believe it's not butter. There's seed oils and all that shit. You gotta buy good stuff to cook with. Stay safe. There's this new saying that I like, and it's called seed oil behavior. If you have bad behavior, I'm gonna just say you have seed oil behavior. Like, at the end of the day, I think that 90% or more of males in Gen Z that have been tested for autism or autism spectrum, they get diagnosed positively. And there's a reason for that, and that's everything I just mentioned. There's so much constant like stimulus, and there's like nobody's like bored nowadays. There's always something to tap into, always something to think about. And boredom is important. Boredom, you get to think about your life, you get to reflect, and boredom, while you're bored, you really do think of like good ideas. Like, boredom is crucial to creativity, and there is not enough boredom nowadays. It's just constant stimuli over here, over there. You can't get away from it. Your brain needs to take a rest. Your brain is not meant to just go from one place to the next, like just over and over and over again. You need to have breaks and rest during your day. You can't just have a rest when you're sleeping. Your brain needs more of a break. There's vapes, there's cigarettes, there's so many drugs to cope with certain ailments you might have. And you need to go to the root cause of what's causing all this, and it's diet. It's diet, and it's what you consume, like the media that you consume. There's so many things that we're not considering, and we need to start considering everything. Yeah, there's just all these stimulants just dumbing down our brains. So the question is, do I actually think you're autistic? Yeah, yeah, I do. I think you might be slightly autistic. It's not genetically, it's environmentally. I do think that you can change for the better and become less autistic, but I do think that you can use this to your advantage, like you can with everything. Yeah, you can use your autism to an advantage. Just don't become too autistic and trapped in that TikTok brain and the seed oil behavior. You gotta be safe, protect yourself, and stay away from those vices. You know, I know that I'm like just an average looking guy, nothing special. So I would prefer somebody to give me like a different compliment than, wow, you look so good today. I'd rather them say, you are so neurodivergently autistic, and I love it. Like, the latter is so much better of a compliment to me because I know it's like the only thing I got going on for me.